Well, Happy New Year and welcome back to trombone lessons, this time online, with the series Play the Trombone with Mr. Cole. So, let's start with a reminder of how to put the trombone together. In your case, you'll find the slide section and you'll find the bell section. Now the slide section goes in your right hand with the little black bit towards you, and the bell section goes in your left hand with the little black bit towards you. You can't see the black bit against, there you go, there's the black bit. Now you put the black bit in the black bit, give it a twist, make sure it's fairly firm. It should be roughly right angles, if you can see that, between there and there. Then mouthpiece in the top, sling it over your left shoulder. There you go. We're going to be using a worksheet this time. We're not using the books. We are going to be using a worksheet, which is why it's called Trombone CW1, because it's course worksheet 1. And here we go. This is worksheet 1, which you will need for this lesson. Now we're going to start off with the basic scale, which you would have learned towards the end of last term. And I'm going to demonstrate, then I'm going to pause for a moment while you play your version of this scale. So here we go. Okay, at this point I would like you to pause the video, pause the lesson, and practice that at least twice. Okay, so I'm going to carry on, but I want you to pause the film, the video, and I want you to practice that scale twice. Good, so I'm assuming you have paused it and you have played it twice and you're now tuning back into the lesson. If you look at the picture of the trombone, you'll see that there is a third position, there is a fourth position, and there is a sixth position. There is no second position at this time, not yet. So you need to know 1, 3, 4, 6. Now, I want you to look at where it says test, because I want you to be able to look at those notes and immediately know which position to put the slide in. If you put the numbers over the notes, which some people like to do to help them, it certainly helps you immediately, but it doesn't help you remember the position. You really need to look at the note, see where it is on the 5 lines. There's the 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then work out what position. If you look at the first note, it's on the second line. So compare that to the top where it says reminder, and you'll see that the note on the second line, it's the first note in fact, it's first position. So I'm going to play the first 4 notes of the test. And if you've got it right, you'll find that it's first position, fourth position, third position, sixth position. And the whole point of playing the trombone from music is that instead of playing what's in your mind, you play from what you see on the sheet, rather like reading words from a book. So I'm going to ask you to work your way through the whole of that line marked test. I'm going to give you a pause, and I'm going to ask you to turn off the machine, turn off the video, and give yourself twice through the test. So when you're ready, pause the video go. So you should have found, by looking at those notes, that the first note was first position, the second note was fourth position, the third note was third position, the fourth note was sixth position, the fifth note was first position, and the sixth note was third position, seventh note was third position, eighth note sixth position, 9, 10, back to 1, back to where you started them. So I'm going to play through the whole of that line marked test, and if you want to play along with me, that might be a good way of doing it. Here we go. Now, the good thing about doing this test is that it's not a tune that you can remember. You're not going to remember this tune, and you wouldn't want to remember it. It's as boring as anything. But it does make you read the notes and work out which position to put the slide in. One more thing we've not talked about is breathing. When you're talking at home to people, your family, you probably don't realise, but you take a breath and then you speak your sentence. Can I have a drink of water, please, Mum? You don't go, can I have a drink of water, please, Mum? You take a breath, then you say all the words in a sentence. When you're playing the trombone, you need to take a breath, play all the notes that you can in one breath. Then take another breath and play. Try and group the notes into a musical sentence. So I'm going to do it one more time, a third time, and see if you can see how I breathe. And if you think that I breathed every 2 bars, you'd be correct. So let's move down to Ode to Joy. Now you might remember that we were in the European Union before Christmas, and now we're not. But that doesn't mean to say we can't play their tune. This is the national anthem of the European Community. It was written by Beethoven and is called Ode to Joy. If you haven't heard it yet, you're bound to hear it at some time in the next few years. So looking at the music for Ode to Joy, the first note's on the third line up, which means it's in fourth position. This tune goes up and down in steps, so in a way there's no big jumps. So make sure you start on the right note. Fourth position. And these are filled in notes, so they're one beat each. Every beat is one count. They all go the same speed. There's no long notes, no 4 beats. Not until the end of the line anyway, then there's a 2 beat. So I'm going to play you the first line, then I'm going to pause, or you're going to pause and do the first line yourself. That's it. And did you notice in the last bar there's a note with a dot on it, which makes it a bit longer, and then to compensate for that, the following note has got a tail on it, a little hooky bit, and that makes it correspondingly shorter. So we get dum, dum, dum. Now I want you to pause the video and practice that first line 2 or 3 times. Off you go. Pause. Good. So you've played it through a couple of times and you're pretty well sure that you're correct. Now we're going to look at the second line of that tune, Ode to Joy. It's very similar to the first line. There you go. So once again, I want you to pause the video, play the second line a couple of times, then pause it a little bit longer, just wait a bit longer, and play the whole tune from the beginning of the first line to the end of the second line, and see if anybody in your household shouts out, "Hey, you're playing the European Community National Anthem." Off you go. Pause. So we're going to look at the last line on this page. Now it's introducing a new note, and the new note is A, and you have played it before. We did this last term sometime, but it's in second position. Now I haven't put a second position on the diagram of the trombone, but you should know that it's just below first. First is there, and that's the lowest first position I want you to get. That's the note. So could you practice with me B flat first of all? Now A, second position. The end of the line of text at the bottom there, it says, "This tune uses new note low A, second position. Can you spot it?" So can you spot the low A? Have a look. You should find the low A, if you've not found it already, in the third line. Beg your pardon, that's a silly word. It's the third bar, and it's the fourth note in the third bar, and you can see that it's on the bottom space in between the lines there, and it's also in the last bar. It's the first note. That note always is played with the second position. Right, I'm going to play this, and I think you might recognize it. Here we go. And when you get to the end, there's two dots. Now, anybody that knows anything about music, one of the first things you learn is that when you see two dots, one under the other, at the end of a piece of music, it means repeat, play it again. So that means you're going to have to play it twice through. So I'm going to play the second time. Here we go. Good. So that's more or less it for today. But you'll find when you finish this video, you like to pause it and then play through the bottom line twice. Then you will get some idea of what it sounds like in its entirety. So today you've covered a lot of ground. Don't forget, if you get stuck and you can't remember any notes, look at the reminder at the top of the page. Okay, best of luck this week. See you next week. Bye.